Alright, it's Ben and you're back at the DIY Homefront channel. I've got a cleanup project I want to do. I haven't pressure washed my carport for quite a while and it's looking pretty dirty. I cleaned the driveway off in the front of the house whenever we had a hurricane and it was raining one day, because I'm silly like that. But let's take a look at what we got. You can see for the most part everything looks pretty good. But you can see that's pretty dirty. And these posts, some kind of ugly. And it's easy to see where I stopped. It goes from clean to not as clean, so you can actually see the line. So we're going to end up moving everything from here out of the way, and then we'll get the pressure washer and we'll start pressure washing. Well, if you got any questions about this video, don't forget to leave me a comment. Well, this is my woodworking table and I installed my table saw into it, and one of these days I'm gonna have to get around to making a video of that. Alright, there's a couple sheets of plywood I need to move to the barn, and of course I got to get rid of the blue ball. Well, I'll get the blower out and blow the carport off really well, because I have ended up doing two metalworking projects where I built a stump bucket and a fire pit here, and I did a lot of grinding with my grinder, and I don't want any small particles of metal to end up rusting and discoloring this concrete carport. Well, if you need an example of what I'm talking about, when you drive through neighborhoods and you see the orangish marks on the side of a house or a driveway where the sprinklers end up hitting it, that's because there's iron in the groundwater and the sprinkler heads end up depositing it on the side of the house and the driveway. And like I said, that iron rusts and discolors everything. Always got to check the oil before we start. This is a good habit to get into. Always check the oil before you start any of your small engines. The other thing I do is I always top the gas tank off. Now, I have a tried and true method for starting my pressure washer. Yours might not be the same. I turn the kill switch on so the engine won't start and that the water pressure's off. And then I pull the engine cord twice to turn the engine over. Then I turn the engine on and it starts right up, and then I turn the water pressure on. Now, I seem to get the best results when using my pressure washer when I've got that 40-degree tip on the end of my wand. And I have wooden siding and vinyl soffits and fascia boards on my house and my carport. Now, with the vinyl soffit and fascia boards, I can hold that tip almost right up to the surface of it. But when it comes to the painted gray wood areas, I need to stay back about a foot or so, otherwise I'm going to start blasting paint off of the wood. Well, at my house it seems like it's maybe dust or dirt that builds up underneath the soffit. It's not really mold and mildew, and the pressure washer does a really good job of getting that off with just one pass. It's a different story when it comes to the fascia board. It seems like it has mildew and algae that is built up and growing on it. And even though I can hit it with the pressure washer pretty much at point blank, it gets a lot of that material off, but not all of it. Well, the first thing you'll notice about me cleaning this post is I'm holding the tip of the wand a lot closer than a foot. And that's because different paint acts different ways. And this semi-gloss trim paint seems to adhere and hold up better to the pressure washer than the flat paint that's on the siding. And you'll also realize over time when you pressure wash a couple things that the paint adheres better in some spots than it does others. But for me, I can get pretty close to the post and not have to worry about blasting any of the paint off. Another thing you're going to want to do is make sure you have plenty of time to get this job done. It's actually a lot easier and quicker to clean the floor of the carport than it is to try to clean all the posts and the soffit. There's just a lot of different spots you got to try to get to, and it takes some time. So make sure you set some time aside to get the project done. Just like the vinyl soffits, the vinyl ceiling of the carport doesn't seem to have any mold or mildew built up on it. It just seems to have a lot of dust and dirt. So they clean up pretty easy. But there's one accessory that you're probably going to want to get when you do areas like that. and that's a hat similar to the one I'm wearing. It really makes it a lot easier when you're trying to clean something that's over your head, because you're going to have all this water and stuff that's dripping down from the ceiling or from the soffits. And if you've got a wide brim hat, it's going to hit the hat brim and run away from your face instead of down your face and in your eyes. Now, I don't use bleach or soap, but this would be especially important if you're using either one of those things, because you wouldn't want to get bleach or soap in your eyes. Now, I made a mistake the first time I pressure washed the fascia board. I ended up on the ground with my wand pointed up in the air trying to get the fascia board clean, and you can actually spray the shingles and push them up, which is a bad thing. So I will take the time to go find a ladder and get to where I can actually point the wand pretty much straight at the fascia board and clean it that way instead of being on the ground with the wand up in the air. It's amazing how much the sun can affect the mold and mildew on your house. This side of the fascia board never gets direct sunlight, and it is really dirty with algae. Now, the only part of the fascia board I'm trying to clean right now is just the one little lip that faces the ground, and I'm not trying to clean any other part. Alright, with that taken care of, it's time to move on to the floor of the garage, and I'm going to use a surface cleaner for this. You'll need to make sure this attachment is working properly. There should be a spinner on the inside of it, and if it's not spinning, it's not going to clean as designed to. I have found with mine, it normally just ends up being a piece of sand or dirt that's gotten in there from when I used it the last time. And once I sort of spin it a couple times, it works that dirt out of the way and starts functioning properly. I'm always amazed with the fact that you can put just a little bit of water on a concrete floor and it brings out the dirt, and it makes it so easy to see where the dirty areas are and how much better it looks after you've got just a little bit done and it's clean. Well, that took a couple of hours, but everything is finally cleaned off, so I'll go ahead and put everything away. Well, I think it's a big improvement. That's all I'm going to do for today. We'll take a look at it tomorrow when it's dry and decide how good of a job I really did. Well, I got out here this morning and did a little bit of work. Let me show you how things are turning out. Okay, you can see on the post how there's still a little mildew in a couple spots. And I have not wiped these down, but on the other side, I took a washcloth with some Clorox and wiped the posts down. And this is 100% white, isn't it? I mean, there's no blemishes anywhere. So if you've still got some mildew spots when you get done with your pressure washing, you can take just a small amount of Clorox and mix it in with some water and put it in a bucket, and take a washcloth and just wipe everything down, and in 15 minutes it'll be completely white and any traces of that mildew will be gone. Now, the pressure washer I have is designed to actually have the bleach or the soap mixed in as you're using the machine, but I prefer not to do that, mainly for environmental reasons. And just one more time, here's that before and after. Well, it really wasn't any problem at all to wipe down all the white painted wood on the inside of the carport with that washcloth with bleach on it. The only part that was really annoying was wiping down the vinyl fascia board, because I had to use a taller ladder. Well, the ceiling turned out really nice. And I even got all the dirt that was on the soffit. All the mold and mildew is gone. Well, there's one or two spots I could probably touch up with some paint, but that wasn't caused by the pressure washer. That was wear and tear that was there before I started this project. Well, there you go. I think it turned out really good. I'm glad it's all cleaned up. Well, hopefully this gives you some pointers in case you want to tackle a pressure washing project. But until the next time, like, subscribe, check out my playlist, and I'll see you in that next video.